Why now, why here, and why in front of thousands of fans? These are the questions that ripple through the hearts of ARMY across the globe tonight. The stage lights at Seoul's Olympic Arena had barely dimmed when the first sobs escaped Suga's lips, a sound so raw and unexpected that it cut through the thunder of cheers like a sudden winter wind. Cameras caught the shimmer of tears as they traced down his cheeks, each drop reflecting the weight of something he could no longer hold inside. "Did you feel that?" whispered a fan in the front row, clutching her light stick as if it were the only thing anchoring her to the moment. Every heartbeat in the arena seemed to pause, suspended in a silence that trembled with anticipation. Something was about to be revealed. Something that might change everything. Suga stepped closer to the microphone, his voice trembling but resolute. "I have kept this in for a long time," he began, the words carrying both strength and fragility. The crowd surged forward, phones raised, tears already pooling in countless eyes. What secret could weigh so heavily on the artist who has always stood tall through storms, the lyrical genius who turned his struggles into anthems of hope? But before he could finish, a wave of emotion overtook him. He lowered his head, shoulders shaking, the roar of ARMY blending with the quiet sob that followed. The scene was almost surreal, one of the world's biggest stars, unshielded and human, unraveling before a sea of people who loved him beyond words. Was it the relentless pressure of fame? A personal loss unknown to the public? Or perhaps a message of gratitude so deep it could only be spoken through tears? The audience held their breath, waiting for the confession that would soon echo across continents. In that electric silence, the entire world seemed to lean in. And as the seconds stretched like hours, it became clear that this was not just another concert moment to be clipped and replayed on social media. This was history. Suga lifted his head, eyes glistening beneath the spotlights. "I need you to know how much you mean to me," he finally said, voice breaking but unmistakably firm. "Every single one of you saved me in ways you'll never fully understand." The arena erupted, not with noise, but with a collective sob, a wave of love and empathy so powerful it felt almost tangible. Fans clasped hands with strangers, hearts pounding as if sharing the same rhythm, and you, reading this now, can almost hear that quiet but thunderous moment. What would you have said if you stood there, just a few feet away, witnessing the man who has given you lyrics of strength now standing vulnerably before you? Share your thoughts below. Like, comment, and tell us what Suga's music has meant to you. Because this is more than news, it's a living story of connection, of art that transcends fame, and of a man unafraid to show the world his tears. The air inside the arena felt heavy, as if every breath carried the same trembling anticipation that flickered across Suga's face. For a long moment he simply stood there, one hand gripping the microphone, the other brushing away tears that kept spilling despite his best efforts. You could almost hear the heartbeat of the crowd, a slow, powerful thrum that rose from the floor and pressed into the walls like a living force. "I've written so many songs about pain," he continued, his voice still unsteady yet threaded with quiet strength, "but there are moments when words aren't enough. Tonight is one of them." The giant screens behind him magnified each subtle motion, the quiver of his lips, the deep breath he took before his next sentence. Fans clutched their banners closer, as though holding on to a promise they hadn't yet heard. A faint murmur rippled through the audience. Was this a farewell? A confession of something more personal than anyone had dared to imagine? Questions spun like sparks in the hushed darkness, each one more urgent than the last. Then, with a sudden rush of honesty, he began to speak about the endless nights of self-doubt that haunted him long after the spotlight faded. "I've stood on stages all over the world," he said, "but there were times I wondered if I deserved to be there. I've smiled when I was breaking inside." The words hit like a quiet storm. Many in the crowd covered their mouths, tears already streaming, because in that raw admission they heard their own hidden struggles echo back. The band members watched from the wings, their faces etched with concern and unwavering solidarity. RM took a cautious step forward, as if ready to steady him, but stopped when Suga gave a small shake of his head. This was his moment to share, and he needed, to finish. "I thought I had to be strong every second," he confessed, his gaze sweeping across the sea of glowing light sticks. "But you taught me something different. You showed me that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the proof that we're alive." The words seemed to ripple outward, reaching the farthest rows and, somehow, every corner of the world beyond the arena. A sudden roar of applause erupted, mingled with sobs and shouts of encouragement. "We love you, Yoongi," someone cried, the name carrying like a beacon through the crowd. And Suga smiled through his tears, a fragile but unmistakable curve of hope. If you were watching the live stream, you could almost feel the room trembling with shared emotion. It wasn't just a concert anymore, it was a gathering of hearts, a communion of truth and love that blurred the line between artist and audience. So tell us, ARMY and readers around the world, where were you when you heard his words? Did you feel the same rush of connection, the sudden understanding that even those we admire most fight battles we can't see? Comment below, share your thoughts, and let Suga know, no matter where you are, that his music, his honesty, and his courage have touched you too, because this night, this confession, will echo for years to come. And as the cheers swelled and the final notes of the encore faded into silence, one truth remained unshakable: Suga's tears were not a sign of weakness, but a testament to the unbreakable bond he shares with every person who has ever found strength in his songs. The echoes of that night lingered long after the final lights dimmed. Outside the arena, thousands of fans remained gathered, their voices soft but insistent as they sang fragments of Suga's own lyrics back into the cool soul night. It felt as though no one wanted to leave, as though stepping away would break the fragile, beautiful thread that now connected every heart in attendance. News of the moment traveled at lightning speed. Within minutes, social media timelines flooded with trembling hands capturing live videos, shaky but sincere. "Suga cried, and so did we," read one post that was shared tens of thousands of times within the hour. Across continents, ARMY members who hadn't been there in person watched the clips and felt the same sudden tightness in their chests. Backstage, the other members of BTS formed a quiet circle around their friend. No words were needed. Jimin offered a gentle pat on Suga's shoulder. Jean handed him a bottle of water with a reassuring smile. RM whispered something only Suga could hear, a promise, perhaps, or a simple acknowledgement that the truth spoken on stage was enough. Hours later, as the band's caravan moved through the softly lit streets of Seoul, Suga looked out the tinted window at the clusters of fans still waving banners and humming melodies. He pressed a hand against the glass, a silent thank you to the countless faces glowing in the darkness. The city seemed to breathe with him, a rhythm of empathy and unwavering love. But the night's impact wasn't confined to the fans. Journalists and music critics began writing furiously, their words tinged with awe. One international outlet called it a defining moment in modern pop culture, a reminder that vulnerability is the new revolution. Another described the scene as a quiet earthquake that shook millions awake to the human soul behind the superstar. Across the globe, people who had never listened to a single BTS song found themselves drawn to the story. Teachers shared it with students as a testament to courage. Parents whispered to their children about the importance of speaking openly when life feels heavy. Hospitals played Suga's music in waiting rooms, where patients found solace in lyrics now imbued with even deeper meaning. Meanwhile, Suga sat in the quiet of his apartment, the city's distant hum slipping through the open window. His phone buzzed endlessly, messages from friends, from fellow musicians, from fans he had never met but somehow knew so well. He scrolled through them slowly, each word a small spark of connection. "You are not alone," they said. "Your music saved me," they confessed. He set the phone down and exhaled. Tonight had not been planned. The tears, the confession, the breaking open of his heart, it had all erupted like a sudden storm. Yet now, in the calm that followed, he felt lighter than he had in years, and somewhere out there, you, reading this, might feel it too. That gentle nudge to speak your own truth. That reminder that even the strongest among us need a moment to cry, to be held by the unseen embrace of countless others. What would you say to Suga if you were listening right now? Would you share how his music carried you through your darkest days? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let your voice join the chorus of millions who have already reached out. Like this story, share it, let it ripple outward, because these are the moments that make us more than fans, they make us a family. As dawn approached, the first streaks of sunlight washed over Seoul, but the night's confession remained as vivid as ever. The world had witnessed more than a concert. It had witnessed a man stepping fully into his humanity, and in doing so, Invitin.